now must evacuate immediately.
Hello, my friends. Ooh boy, we got a spicy one today. I am, of course, typing this out before even attempting this challenge, so for the time being, it may not even be that bad. Or it may be an incredibly frustrating experience that will make me want to quit YouTube altogether. Is everybody ready to find out? Alright, well then let's get right to it. I am going to beat the Pokémon Trading Card Game using only moves that may or may not cause self-damage, as long as the possibility is there in the move description. Why? Because it sounds awful, that's why. And it will probably be amusing. But just real quick, I wanted to once again mention my good friends at Into the AM. I recently joined their partnership program because I legit love their shirts. Ask my friends and family, I seriously do wear their shirts very often. I'm gonna go visit my parents, I'll be sure to bring my Bourbon Voyage shirt. So if you're in the need for some new stylish shirts that fit very nicely, use my link here and below, intotheam.com/Paraspectre with the code Paraspectre to get 10% off your order, which directly helps out the channel as well. And you want me to succeed, don't you? But seriously, check out what they have. Their shirts are awesome and they fit great. I wouldn't promote a product that I didn't use myself. I'm like the Shaq of the Pokemon trading card game. So the rules are as follows. I can only use moves or Pokemon powers that could cause self-damage and nothing else. I must use every single Pokemon that can cause self-damage and only one of each. A lot of these Pokemon are evolved forms, so I obviously must have the unevolved forms in the deck too, but I can never attack with them. Thus, my final deck will have a total of 27 Pokemon in it, but 9 of them are ones that I can't even use. Yeah, this should be a super awesome time, I'm sure of it. One debatable rule is that certain Pokemon cause self-confusion, like Vileplume or Primeape, but I chose not to count these. Being confused can lead to self-damage, but it doesn't cause any damage on that turn alone. I could have included these, but I don't think they adhered to the rules enough. However, there will be one Pokemon that I also had to decide on if I should include or not, and I ultimately said yes. I'll mention that when I get to it. So per usual, let's go over all the mons here, and if you just want to get right to the challenge, skip to this time here. So one of the tough things about this challenge is that I will be using Pokemon of 6 different types: Grass, Fire, Lightning, Fighting, Psychic, and Colorless. There aren't any water Pokemon here that can cause self-damage. Interesting. But starting us off, I have 2 usable Grass types. The first one is my boy, Base Nidoking. Wow, awesome. If you watched my base set analysis video, I stated that my favorite base set card is actually Nidoking. I absolutely love the move Toxic here, and oh, right, I can't even use it. And I can't even use Nidoran Male or Nidorino. But Nidoking has 90 HP, a weakness to Psychic, and a 3 retreat cost. For 1 Grass and 2 Colorless, Thrash does 40 with a Heads flip, but with a Tails flip it does 30 and Nidoking takes 10 damage. In relation to the challenge, this could be the safest move out of all of them. It hits decently hard, and 10 self-damage is the best possible outcome. It's just getting both Nidoran and Nidorino first when there's only one of each. Yet Nidoking may not be used too often. Then we have our first explodey friend. I cannot use Coughing, but I can use Fossil Wheezing. Wheezing has 60 HP, a weakness to Psychic, and a 1 retreat cost. For 2 Grass and 1 Colorless, we all know what Self-Destruct does. 60 damage to Wheezing, and 10 to every single benched Pokemon. That's going to be the tough part of this challenge. If I'm only able to obtain self-destructing mons, I only get 1 chance to use it, and I really got to make it count. Then we have only 1 single fire type. I cannot use Growlithe, but I can use 1 base Arcanine. Arcanine has a mighty 100 HP, a weakness to water, and a 3 retreat cost. For 2 Fire and 2 Colorless, Takedown does 80 and Arcanine takes 30 damage, no questions asked. Arcanine is packing heat with 100 HP, so there is that at least, but the auto 30 damage means I gotta be careful. Also, this is the only fire type in the deck, so it could be rare to even pull off Takedown. Yeah, we'll see. But the brunt of this deck is going to be the 8 lightning types, and I can use all 8 of them in some capacity. No unevolved forms that I can't attack with. First, we have base Pikachu. Pikachu has 40 HP, a weakness to fighting, and a 1 retreat cost. For 1 lightning and 1 colorless, Thunder Jolt does 30, and then with a Tails flip, Pikachu takes 10 damage. Honestly, this is a great card for this challenge. It can attack right away, the cost is pretty cheap, and Pikachu may not take any self-damage. I like this one for this idea. And then I can also evolve it and use base Raichu. Raichu has 80 HP, a weakness to fighting, and a 1 retreat cost. For 3 lightning and 1 colorless, Thunder does 60, and then with a Tails flip, Raichu takes 30 damage. It's a costly one, but does hit for a lot with the potential to not involve any self-damage, so this is a pretty decent one. Then it gets pretty intense here. I can use 1 Magnemite, but both Magneton options. So unless I revive or whatever, I can only use 1 Magneton per game. But base Magnemite has 40 HP, a weakness to fighting, and a 1 retreat cost. For 1 lightning and 1 colorless, we have another self-destructor. 40 damage to the defending Pokemon, 40 to Magnemite, and 10 to everything else. Another one-shot that I gotta be careful with. And then it can evolve one of 2 ways. Base Magneton is the same as Magnemite, but way more intense. 60 HP with the same fighting weakness and 1 retreat cost. For 2 lightning and 2 colorless, this self-destruct does 80 to both, and then 20 to everything else. That ain't no self-destruct, that's straight up an explosion. I gotta be super careful here. And my other option is Fossil Magneton. This one has more HP with 80 and an extra retreat cost of 2. But you thought base Magneton was intense. This mad lad takes 4 lightning energies to straight up murder for 100 damage to both, and then 20 to everything else. That has the possibility that these 3 magnetic spheres will be causing 400 damage in one attack. Absolutely nuts. But in my opinion, the star of this deck and probably the safest option is base Electabuzz. It has 70 HP, a weakness to fighting, and a 2 retreat cost. For 1 lightning and 1 colorless, Thunder Punch does 40 with a heads flip, 30 with a tails flip, and then Electabuzz takes 10 damage. The same as Nidoking's Thrash, but cheaper, and Electabuzz is a basic mon. Electabuzz should be very useful here. Next, we actually have 2 different versions of Zapdos. There are 3, but thankfully I don't have to include the legendary Zapdos, because, well, you can't technically get it until you beat the game anyway. Also, that Zapdos can't hit itself, so it wouldn't count anyway. But base Zapdos has 90 HP, no weakness, a resistance to fighting, and a 3 retreat cost. And it has exactly the same move as Raichu. For 3 lightning and a colorless, Thunder does 60 damage, and then with a tails flip, Zapdos takes 30. But Zapdos is better than Raichu here, as it's a basic mon and has more HP. But hey, any move that may not cause self-damage is a win for this challenge. Fossil Zapdos has less HP with 80, but a cheaper retreat cost as well with only 2. And it only has 1 move anyway. For 4 lightning, Thunderstorm does 40, and then for every one of my opponent's bench Pokemon, I flip a coin. For each heads, that Pokemon takes 20 damage. For each tails, Zapdos takes 10. So at most, I'll be causing 50 self-damage, but I also have the potential to do 100 to all of their benched ones. This could prove to be very useful if I'm able to get enough lightning energies here. On to our 3 fighting friends. First is a weird one, as I can only use the middle evolution here, and not the basic or final stage. Base Machoke has 80 HP, a weakness to Psychic, and a 3 retreat cost. For 2 fighting and 2 colorless, Submission does 60 damage, and then Machoke automatically takes 20. Pretty decent. If it doesn't get hit, it can do 4 submissions before knocking itself out, so not bad. And obviously Machop must be here that I can't use, and there will be no Machamp. Then we have another unfortunate one. I can't use Geodude or Graveler, but they must be here. But Fossil Golem has 80 HP, a weakness to Grass, and a 4 retreat cost. Good lord. For 4 fighting, we have another self-destruct option here, just like Fossil Magneton. 100 damage to both and 20 to everything. The difference here, and I didn't mention this yet, is that I technically can throw a defender on these ones blowing themselves up to survive, but this golem will be taking more damage than its HP. So even using 1 defender here will not save golem. 2 defenders, however, but yeah, golem is not one I'll be using too often, if at all. And then I cannot use Rhyhorn, but I can use Jungle Rhydon. Rhydon has 100 HP, a weakness to grass, a resistance to lightning, and a 3 retreat cost. For 4 fighting, Ram does 50 damage, and then Rhydon takes 20, but then the defending Pokemon switches with a benched one. This is one of those situational cards that could be gray or not, depending on the circumstances. Also, Ram is very costly, and I'll need Rhyhorn out first. And now we've reached the debatable one that I did choose to include. I cannot use Slowpoke, but I did include Fossil Slowbro. However, it can never attack. It has 60 HP, a weakness to Psychic, and a 1 retreat cost. Its Pokemon power is Strange Behavior, which allows me to move as many damage counters as I want from my own Pokemon to Slowbro as long as it doesn't knock it out. It's not technically self-damage, but the sole purpose of this power is to put damage counters on Slowbro, so I chose to count it. But basically this guy only exists in this deck to put damage counters on. Do I feel bad? Not even a little bit. Slowbro walked so others could run. Slowbro will excel staying on the bench for me to help heal others, but I do have to be careful when using self-destructs because Slowbro will probably be knocked out from them. And the only psychic type here that I can attack with is Fossil Ghastly. It has 50 HP, no weakness or retreat cost, and a resistance to fighting, which is really sweet. But remember when I said this is the only one I can attack with? And the only psychic type here that I can attack with is Fossil Ghastly. That was kind of a lie, because for 2 psychic, all energy conversion does is bring 2 energies from my discard pile into my hand, and then Ghastly takes 10 damage. So yeah, none of the psychic types here will ever be dealing any damage. They are strictly here for being shields or recovering energies. I don't know how many psychic energies I want to include in the deck yet. Maybe only 2, but energy conversion could be helpful at times. And finally, we have 2 colorless types here. Promo Jigglypuff has 50 HP, a weakness to fighting, a resistance to psychic, and a 1 retreat cost. For 3 colorless, Double Edge does 40, and then Jigglypuff takes 20 damage. Honestly, not all too bad. With 50 HP, Jigglypuff can use 3 Double Edges before knocking itself out, if I'm not able to heal it. So that's 120 damage for 3 of any energy. Pretty nice. And finally, we have a controversial one from my base set analysis video. I was told numerous times that I way underestimated base Chansey by not saying it was the best colorless rare. I'll save my thoughts on that one, but it is included here. Chansey has the highest HP in the game with 120, a weakness to fighting, resistance to psychic, and a 1 retreat cost. For 4 colorless, Double Edge does 80 damage, and then Chansey takes 80 as well. I cannot use Scrunch for this challenge, so Chansey is a risky one here. And there we have it, all of the players here. I for sure have to use the right trainers for this challenge too, with a focus on potions and super potions and Pokemon centers. A lot of these moves take a ton of specific energies too, so energy searches are my friends as well. I foresee this challenge being quite difficult, but let's just get right into it and see. So the only real choice in a starting deck here is Charmander and Friends, as I start with Growlithe, Arcanine, Pikachu, Raichu, Magnemite, Magneton, Zapdos, Machop, and Machoke. Well, now the game is making this too easy for me. So allow me to go get the rest of the cards, and yeah, there we go. I am ready to begin. However, there is only one card I can't quite get yet, Promo Jigglypuff. And just take a look at this. How do you get Promo Jigglypuff? Why, you gotta beat Derpy Ronald the first time he interrupts your progress. Yeah, for the first time ever, I must defeat Ronald in those pointless battles. How fun. Anyway, I can't get Jigglypuff just yet, so let's go through my usual routine here and take on Stony Gene first. My deck is all set with the Pokemon, but I'll be adjusting the trainers and energies as I go along and acquire more. This may take some trial and error matches to get it right. And wow, this one was tense, and I am fearful for the rest of the challenge based on how this went. Here's the rundown. I open with Pikachu and have a Zapdos, Geodude, and Slowpoke as well. I decided to take a chance on Pikachu getting a Thunder Jolt in before it gets taken out with a fighting weakness. Gene opens with an Onix and uses an energy removal right away, so Pikachu is a lost cause. But I do have Zapdos with a fighting resistance. So many turns go by as neither of us can attack each other as we both continue to power up our benches. Finally, something happens and Gene uses a switch to bring Graveler in, who can actually hit Zapdos for 10 each turn. I do have my mighty Slowbro on the bench, so I can at least move damage over to it. I get a couple Gusties, so I use one to keep that super fun Onix standoff going as I try and get enough lightning energies to even use Thunder. So many more turns go by and I'm finally able to use Thunder, resulting in Zapdos taking 30 damage. And now Gene has 2 fully powered Golem on his bench, so this is not good. I feel like it's time to start taking one out, so I blow that Rock Snake away so fast that it became a pile of gravel. I get lucky with a no damage Thunder, but now Graveler can actually do some damage. Avalanche hits Zapdos for 30 and has the option of self-destruct too. I make Slowbro feel Zapdos' avalanche pain and knock out one Golem, but take 30 in Thunder damage. Golem 2 comes in and takes Zapdos down to 30, but Slowbro can't take any more of this hurt, so that option is done. I thunder this Golem down to 20, but it's no good. I flip a Tails, sealing Zapdos' fate on the next turn. And I literally have nobody else who can attack, so now what? I bring in poor Slowbro to put it out of its misery, giving Jean another easy prize. My next card is Wheezing. I mean, it's something, but now my only attacking option is to self-destruct, which would give Jean yet another prize, but at least I can take Golem out. And that's exactly what I do. Kind of a waste to self-destruct on a half-dead Golem, but it would wipe out my entire team if I didn't. Boom! Toxic gas clouds everywhere, and each of our 3 bench Pokemon takes 10 damage. My prize is Magneton, and I do have Magnemite, but no energies for it. He brings in Geodude, I bring in Geodude. Jean plays a Geodude, and Jean puts an energy on Geodude. But then Jean does the unthinkable. You see, I played an early Bill, thus putting my deck lower than his. But Jean decides it's a good idea this late into the match to throw down that surly Oak Man. Normally one of the best trainer cards in the game, and I have a chance at winning because he used one. And because Stone Barrage is so unreliable, I have a chance at surviving a few turns here because there is absolutely nothing I can do right now. And then, Monica and Andrew and Tess must have been listening from above because they sent down the most beautiful angel I have ever seen. Fossil Zapdos with that sweet, sweet fighting resistance. Hello, my friend. I yeet that Geodude right out of there to get Zapdos in and hopefully wait out the storm. Jean then uses a computer search to most certainly get Graveler because he evolves Geodude right away. You schmuck. Luckily, Graveler can only deal 40 a turn, so if he doesn't get a third Golem now, I can survive multiple turns here. And it starts to work out just fine. I even get Machoke and Growlithe in the meantime. But Zapdos did all it could before passing on to the giant ball in the sky. And unfortunately, Jean now only needs 1 prize to win, so literally any of my self-destructing boys are off the table now. I bring in Machoke, who can at least bring Graveler to submission, but it takes 20 auto damage in the process. That could be bad. He brings in a measly Onix, but I can't really use submission or else Machoke will be gone real fast. Jean also plays a Diglett who can Mudslap for 30, so this is going to be close. Jean gets down to 3 cards and Rock throws Machoke down to 30. But my next card, Arcanine. Wow, what perfect timing. All I do is retreat Machoke for Arcanine, and for whatever reason, Jean never chooses to retreat Onix and eventually runs out of cards in his deck, giving me the win. That was awesome, but I am now terrified for the rest of this challenge. How many of these will I have to win by decking them out? Rock Medal obtained on the first try, so let's move on to the Water Club next, I guess. While fighting the lackeys here, I get the idea to punt any psychic energies in the deck. I have to include Ghastly for my own rules, but it will now only exist to not attack. Energy conversion helps me bring energies back from the discard pile, but I would rather free up those 2 psychic energy spaces for trainer cards. So, sorry Ghastly, your time is up, but it could still come in handy with a resistance or just to take hits. But attempt 1 against Amy really sucked. I tried stalling as long as I could with her only keeping a Goldeen in, but she eventually retreated for a fully powered Hydro Pump Blastoise who just steamrolled my team. I even got to use Fossil Zapdos, but it's too weak to one-shot Blastoise. Attempt number 2. I start with only Rhyhorn, who can't do anything. I use a Pokemon Trader to get Electabuzz, and then Amy proceeded to use a Super Energy Removal, and then an Energy Removal to stop Electabuzz from doing anything. That was basically the entire match. Attempt number 3. And then this one was equally as uninteresting, but thankfully on the opposite end. I start with Electabuzz and Pikachu against a water deck. I just Thunder Punched her Horsey and 2 Goldeen to win. The whole thing took less than 2 minutes. Well, that was uneventful, but hey, Water Medal obtained. But oh, you know what time it is. It's time for Ronald to interrupt gameplay, except this time I have to beat him. This is my only chance to get the promo Jigglypuff to have my deck be 100% ready, so let's do this. And well, this one was also pretty uneventful and done in 1 attempt. I start with Zapdos, get enough energies and potions to keep using Thunder and just wipe out his entire team. He even had a Lapras and Wartortle out, but I mean, it's Thunder. I welcome those fools. Promo Jigglypuff obtained, and now it's time to hit up the Grass Club. This first attempt against Nikki was really stupid. She got a Venusaur and used Energy Trans to get 8 energies on her cheap Exeggutor. Yeah, I had absolutely no chance here. Attempt number 2. This one was also really stupid. This time I had to deal with her ultimate gloom army, spreading poison powder and foul odor like it's glitter over a rave. She got 3 glooms and I had bad coin flip luck, although I came super close to both winning by her running out of cards and taking all prizes. But I got 1 tails coin flip with Electabuzz trying to retreat and it was over. Attempt number 3. Nope, she gets another Venusaur and gloom and I get nobody who can even attack. This is making me mad now. Attempt number 4. Just for funsies, I decide to absolutely explode my Magneton all over her stupid plants. How does it feel? Of course, it resulted in me losing because all I had was Nidoran, who just got taken out in 1 hit from Bulbasaur. Attempt number 5. Oh, but check this one out. Yeah, you're gonna love this. I start with only Jigglypuff against her Oddish and 2 others. That is horrendous because I need 3 energies to use Double Edge, and Jigglypuff takes an auto 20 when I use it. So I can't even take out this one Oddish this way. So I just gotta sit here and take Stun Spore after Stun Spore, just hoping I can get somebody else to use. But I am getting nothing as she proceeds to build a bench of Execute and Oddish and Bulbasaur or whatever garbage she's getting. I don't care. But oh boy, I draw a Geodude, who can't even attack until it's a Golem, needing 4 energies, just to blow itself up. And Geodude is weak to grass. Yeah, this sucks. So Jigglypuff goes down and all I have left is Geodude and no hope. I use 2 energy searches just to make my chances higher that I'll draw somebody I can use. But then I draw Pikachu and I have Raichu in my hand. Well, not great, but at least it gives me a chance. So I lose Geodude, and in a hilarious twist, my next card is Golem. But instead of using Thunder Jolt with Pikachu and risking the 10 damage, I decide to not attack, so I can for sure take down Oddish with 1 Thunder. I also have a Gusty. Then she uses a Pokemon Breeder, turning the Oddish I'm against right into Vileplume. But actually this isn't terrible because she doesn't have enough energies to attack. Weird move though. But I waste no time. It's Raichu's moment now. Thunder strikes down on her flower sent by Zeus himself and I avoid any self-damage. Nice. But I take a chance here and blow Wilted Vileplume away to knock out the 2 energy Execute in 1 hit. Unfortunately, I do take 30 damage here from Thunder and she brings in Bulbasaur without enough energies. So I go for the Thunder again and hey, no damage. 2 down. She brings in an Execute who also can't attack yet and starts to heal Vileplume. And I avoid Thunder damage again. Heck yeah. Can I pull this off? She brings in an Execute with no energies and I actually get another Pokemon for the bench. It is Nidoran, so it's nothing I can use, although Nidorino is in my hand. Also one I can't use. I go for the Thunder again, but I take 30 more damage this time. Down to 20, but I only need 2 prizes now. She brings in yet another Execute who is able to use Hypnosis now. Then she uses another Pokemon Breeder to get a second Vileplume in there. Come on now. I do get put to sleep, but I'm able to use a potion on Raichu to at least have another Thunder use not knock me out. And I draw Electabuzz. This could still happen. But all of a sudden, Hypnosis keeps working and I can't wake up. After a few turns go by, I do wake up and wake up again from her second Hypnosis. I take down Execute, but get another Tails from Thunder, down to 10 now, but I only need 1 prize. She then brings in the Energyless Vileplume, and then uses a switch to bring in the injured one with 2 energies on it. Okay. But now she's able to attack. The thing with Petal Dance, though, is that Vileplume becomes confused after using it. So she easily takes out Raichu, who did great by the way, and is left with a confused Vileplume. So I bring in Electabuzz to Thunder Punch it, but take 10 damage in the process. I really need a Confusion Tails flip here, and it's heads. Great. Electabuzz just barely survives, taking 40 damage from 1 Petal Dance flip. My next card, Chansey. Well, this could be interesting. I'm loaded with energies, so if I can get a double edge off, I win. I get a heads with Thunder Punch, bringing Vileplume down to 10. I'm so close. If she flips a Tails from Confusion, I win. But of course it's heads, and she slams Electabuzz for 80. Yeah, this is bad. I bring in Chansey with only 1 energy and do my best to get it to 4. She avoids confusion damage again and gets 2 heads, whipping Chansey for 80 damage. Yeah, I need a miracle now. I use my 1 potion, put a 3rd energy on, and hope for the best. And she actually flips a Tails while confused. However, the other Vileplume has gradually been healing it with its heal Pokemon power, so it didn't knock itself out here. But it doesn't even matter. All I do is slap that 4th energy on and double edge that Vileplume and Chansey right out of this physical earth. My god, that was so close. I don't know if I can keep taking these stressful battles. Grass metal obtained, and I don't know where to go next. Fire, I guess? First try against Ken. Everything was going okay with my Electabuzz opener, and then he used my own deck idea against me and had Chansey use Double Edge, disrupting everything. I never really recovered from that, so attempt number 2. This one was even worse. I start with only Magnemite, and I can't self-destruct with only one Pokemon. Then I get Slowpoke, Weezing, and Machop, and get absolutely nowhere. Attempt number 3. But this one, I absolutely dominated here for real. I opened with Electabuzz against his Magmar, and all I needed the entire time to get all 6 prizes were Electabuzz and Fossil Zapdos. That Zapdos with Thunderstorm absolutely crushed his team of Growlithe, Tauros, and Jigglypuff. Yeah, I gotta get that Zapdos in more, although the 4 lightning energy cost isn't easy to do. Fire Metal obtained, halfway there. Let's go take on Isaac next with the necessary Lackey battles first. And even though I don't show them, I absolutely do stick to the challenge rules for them too. They really weren't too much trouble, just a couple losses. Isaac time. I start with Coughing, Nidoran, and Electabuzz with a Nidoking in my hand. No lightning energies, so I opt for Coughing to buy some time. He opens with Kangaskhan, so you all know what this means. Fetch, Oakman getting his deck real low, real fast. I get Nidorino pretty quick too, so maybe I can finally use Nidoking during this challenge. After many turns, I decide it's finally time to get some action going. I retreat Coughing for Electabuzz and begin slamming the electric fist right into Kangaskhan's face. I get Kangaskhan down to 10, but he's starting to build a scary bench, so I take the coward's route and leave Kangaskhan in for a while. I actually get Nidoking all evolved and ready, but Isaac decides he wants to actually start playing like a club master and uses a switch to bring in Tauros. We exchange blows and Tauros gets the knockout over Electabuzz, but gets confused from its rampage. But oh yes, it's Nidoking time. Nidoking starts thrashing all around, acting like a maniac. Tauros gets dead as heck. Enter Electrode. Electrode is kinda scary because 3 Sonic Booms at Nidoking is done for. I get Electrode down to 30 and he pulls a real Mad Lad move here and throws down a Defender. Well, Nidoking didn't last too long. My other options now are Zapdos with almost no energies, and then Magnemite and Coughing, who can attack. I bring in Magnemite, but I don't really want to self-destruct with Electrode only at 10, and then he has a powered-up Magneton on the ready. So I end my turn as 1 Sonic Boom won't knock it out. But he does something very strange next. He retreats Electrode for Magneton to use self-destruct himself, on a lowly Magnemite, and it also knocks out his own Electrode. Why did he do this? I bring in Zapdos, he brings in Electabuzz. He then uses a Gusty to bring my injured Coughing in. Okay, go for it. However, my next card is what will end up winning the match for me in an unfortunately anticlimactic way. That's right, it's Rhyhorn. I let him knock out Coughing and then just bring in Rhyhorn with a lightning resistance until he runs out of cards in his deck. But also, he didn't even try to bring in anyone to actually hit it. I eventually turn it into a Rhydon, and that scares Isaac so much that he just gives up. It may not have been pretty, but Lightning Metal obtained. Only 3 more to go. Psychic, Science, and Fighting. All types that have a weakness to Psychic that I don't really have usable in the deck. This should be interesting. Science nerds next. Ronald, no. You had your chance to appear in the video last time. It's over. Nobody cares. Moving on. On to the actual match that matters. I start with just Nidoran and Graveler. Well, that's pretty terrible. And Rick opens with a Mewtwo. Also pretty terrible. But for whatever stupid reason, Rick doesn't even try to get enough energies on Mewtwo to attack, and instead starts to power up a bench. I truly have no idea why he does this, because I'm not even damaging Mewtwo, and Nidoran even has a weakness to Psychic. But hey, I'm not the science genius between the two of us, so what do I know? I get a real quick Pokemon Trader, so I yeet that Graveler out of my hand faster than people coming to Chansey's defense in my base set video. I try to trade it for Electabuzz so I can at least do something, but oh, of course, Electabuzz is one of the prizes. So, I don't know, Fossil Zapdos, I guess? Definitely gonna need some lightning energies first. But like I said, Rick is refusing to put energies on the active Mewtwo, so he's given me plenty of time to get Zapdos ready. As you can see, he has even played 3 Psychic energies, so that's not the issue here. But in trying to get enough energies, he also manages to power up a Muck and Weezing, so that's not great. But it's time to take action. I retreat Nidoran and start the Thunderstorm. 40 on Mewtwo, and Muck and Mewtwo too take 20 damage. Rick retreats Mewtwo for Weezing and he tries to poison but fails. But the Thunderstorm continues as I also start to try and power up Raichu. This time, only one of the Mewtwo's takes damage, so Rick decides that it's time to cause some self-damage of his own. Boom! Pieces of wheezing everywhere, which also knocks out Zapdos and his own Mewtwo. But now I have a problem. Raichu isn't ready, and I don't want to sacrifice Pikachu, so it's time to stall with Nidorino and Growlithe. Muck comes in and takes them both down pretty easily. I still can't use Raichu, so I bring in my newly acquired base Zapdos to take some hits next. Zapdos gets poisoned right away, so the clock is ticking. I draw a computer search and get rid of some worthless cards like Nidoking and Golem to get my last needed lightning energy. Zapdos is down and he's down to 2 prizes, and all I have left is Raichu. I get rid of Muck and avoid thunder damage. Nice. In comes Mewtwo, dishing out 50 with Psychic. Oof. I use a potion to make sure thunder won't knock me out. One-shot Mewtwo, 2 prizes left each. This is gonna be close. Grimer comes in and fails with the nasty goo paralysis, so I can one-shot Grimer too. Heck yeah. And thankfully I draw a Rhyhorn just in case Raichu knocks itself out. But look at that, I avoid thunder damage again. My prize is finally my Electabuzz. 1 prize left and he brings in another Grimer. And now my coin flip luck has run out, as nasty goo works twice for him and Raichu can do nothing. Come on, it's so close. 1 prize left and it's Grimer versus Electabuzz, and thank God it works out because paralysis fails and Electabuzz knocks it out in 2 hits, giving me the science medal. My god, this challenge is stressful, but at least it's making me strategize a bit here. Also, if he just tried to attack with that first Mewtwo, I probably would have lost pretty quick, so this one's on you, Rick. Psychic Murray time. This time the only Pokemon I get are Slowbro, Geodude, and Nidoran. Literally nobody I can even attack with, so this one was a wash. Attempt number 2. This one was pretty similar except longer, and I actually got to use 1 Thunder with Zapdos, but it took me over 5 minutes just to even do that. Attempt number 3. This one was closer, still not great though. All 3 times he got Kadabra and then Alakazam extremely fast. Also, I'm pretty sure not a single one of my Pokemon can even hit Mr. Mime, so that's cool. I can pretty much only hit it if it's on the bench from self-destructs or thunderstorms or something. Ugh. Attempt number 4. This one also started out horrendous, just a Nidoran, but thanks to a Pokemon trader, I did get to use Nidoking for a while here. But Murray gets a quick Mr. Mime, and as we just discussed, there is nothing I can do against it. Yeah, I held on for as long as I could. Until I won! However, it wasn't really all too interesting. I simply used my patented Kangaskhan strat, and by that I mean I get the opponent to keep Kangaskhan in as much as possible, using Fetch until their deck runs out. This worked for a while, but I ultimately won because I drew the absolute foil to his plan, Chansey. You see, Chansey has that special psychic resistance, so his mighty Mr. Mime could do absolutely nothing against Chansey unless I used Double Edge, and I most certainly did not do that. Mr. Mime has Meditate, so me using Double Edge even once would get Chansey knocked out. By not attacking, Mr. Mime can never hit it. So I won by just keeping Chansey in and he ran out of cards. Easy enough. Psychic Medal obtained, only the Fighting Club remains until we tackle the Grandmasters. And I didn't record any of it because they're just easy trainers, but holy god, it literally took me 11 attempts to beat some guy named Michael. Who's Michael? Exactly. He's just the boring nobody who hangs out at the grass club before you can fight Mitch. That was horrendous. My first try against Mitch, yeah, I never even attacked and Hitmonchan took out my entire team. But I was inspired to adjust my energies for once for this challenge. He uses mostly fighting types, obviously, and well, I have 2 pretty cool Zapdos in my deck with that sweet, sweet fighting resistance. Time to focus on lightning energies. Per my rules, the Pokemon must stay exactly the same in my deck, but I can freely adjust trainers and energies as I please. Attempt number 2. And you know what? My plan actually worked. I opened with Ghastly, who also has a fighting resistance, and his Hitmonchan got to work. He used a couple Gusties to knock out some of my Mons, but I eventually got the Oakman, who ever so nicely gave me my base Zapdos. I got lucky with coin flips and Zapdos used Thunder on everybody, giving me all 6 prizes. It even survived at the end. Yet now I'm thinking smart. It's about time. Speaking of it's about time, the Grandmasters await. I think I will also adjust my deck here accordingly. First up is my nemesis Courtney. Okay, she's starting with only a single Moltres. Yeah, at least now I can... Oh, she played 2 Fire Giver Moltres on the first turn, giving her 7 fire energies. God, I love Moltres so much. This one ended up dive bombing my entire team, a move that only works 50% of the time. Those are some lucky coin flips, I tell ya. Attempt number 2. This attempt really sucked too. I get Fossil Zapdos fairly quick, but I take 30 self-damage, and she retreats Vulpix to knock it out with Magmar in one hit. I got mad, so I gave up on the rest of the fight since I had nobody else. Attempt number 3, she gets Moltres instantly and knocks everybody out. Attempt number 4, she gets a Ninetales who proceeds to knock everybody out here too, including a completely powered up base Zapdos. Have I mentioned how much I absolutely despise Courtney? Attempt number 5, this one was so close. I almost won here, I'm just kidding. No, it wasn't. Attempt number 6, she gets a Moltres, 2 Magmar, Ninetales, and Arcanine. How do you think it went? Attempt number 7, attempt number 8, attempt number 9, attempt number 10, attempt number 11, number 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. This is absolutely insane. Why did I decide to do this? Attempt 18, attempt 19, attempt 20, and finally I win on attempt 21, making it a new record for me trying to win a match. I can't even convey how long this took me to do. Good lordy lord, this is the worst idea I've ever had. You know what I did? I sacrificed every energy except for lightning. I adjusted trainer cards so I can get and power up either of the 2 Zapdos as fast as possible, and I absolutely rained down the fiercest lightning storm you've ever seen. Thunder clouds covered the sky as individual bolts struck the hearts of her entire stupid fire team. I never want to do this again. I hate Courtney, and I really, really hate Moltres even more than ever. So, on to Thunder Steve. Hopefully this won't be nearly as bad. I start with Rhyhorn, which is pretty cool since it has a lightning resistance. Also Fossil Zapdos. He starts with Electabuzz, which is pretty perfect. I do my best to stall for time to power up either Rhyhorn or Zapdos. He plays the legendary Almighty Zapdos card, who instantly deals 30 to a random Pokemon when played, and it hits his own Electabuzz. Well, this is now just a comedy of errors compared to what I just went through. But then Steve wastes no time and gets Electabuzz out of there for Zapdos with no energies. It's now a race to power up our own Zapdos first. Eventually, I draw all 4 potions in my deck, so I am set if I start to take some self-damage. But his Zapdos wins the lightning race, and it's Big Thunder time. Bam! Jigglypuff gets absolutely demolished. Next turn, boom! My own Rhyhorn gets toasted since Big Thunder bypasses resistance. I'm 1 lightning away from being able to use my own Zapdos, though. I draw a Gust to win, so I take the chance and bring in the injured Electabuzz, but I can't attack it yet. He uses a switch for Voltorb. Really? Alright. But now I see why. He turns it into Electrode on the next turn and starts to Sonic Boom my Zapdos. So I use a Gusty to bring Electabuzz back and start to get bad paralysis flips. I do get my 4th lightning energy though, so any time now. Finally, I'm not paralyzed, so it's time to take down Electabuzz, and I throw in a defender for luck. In comes Jolteon, who I can't quite take out, but I get 3 lucky heads flips, dealing 20 to everybody on his bench. He's hurting now. Jolteon then only gets 1 heads out of 4 with Pin Missile, so somehow my Zapdos lives for another turn. Wow. Jolteon goes away and I flip 2 heads, hurting his Zapdos and Electrode in the process. Electrode comes in to finally knock out my Zapdos, so I bring an Electabuzz to finish it off. 3 prizes left each. Legendary Zapdos comes in, and Big Thunder hits his freshly played Fossil Zapdos. Awesome. He tries it again and knocks out his own Electrode. Yeah, this is amazing. I knock out this Zapdos even though it's really helping me out here, and I only need 1 more prize. And after some Oakman usage and a computer search, I gank a Gusty out of the deck to get a successful head slip to knock out his base Zapdos with only 40 HP to win the match on my first attempt. 21 attempts against Courtney, only 1 against Thunder Steve. There were so many different Zapdos used here that it isn't feeling so legendary anymore. Anyway, only 3 remain until I win the challenge. Freezy Boy Jack was honestly pretty easy. I start with Rhyhorn, who exists to take hits, while I powered up my Zapdos and Electabuzz. I thought those 2 would win the match for me, but just when I needed only 1 prize left, his Lapras caused Electabuzz to be confused and it almost knocked itself out. But Jack's fatal move here was retreating his Chansey for Seal to knock out Electabuzz. All I did next was bring in Magnemite to self-destruct all over his Seal, giving me my final prize. Well, now these are really going my way, but I just want this to end now. Hopefully Rowdy Roddy and Derpy Ronald are easy wins. This first route attempt was an interesting one. It's like he could not get fire energies no matter what he tried, and he seemed to mostly get fire Pokemon. After many stalling turns with healing Growlithe against his Charmander, I actually get Arcanine and start to use Takedown. Takedown isn't auto 30 damage, so I really can only use it a few times. I knock out his Charmander, but he did play a Lapras, so I gotta be careful. My next card is a computer search, so I use old Dr. Google to find me a fresh gust of wind to annihilate Lapras in one hit, but also losing Arcanine in the process. So then it's just many turns of stalling with Slowbro, and I manage to get some energies to bring in Magneton for one big blast when the time is right. Slowbro goes down, I bring in Rhydon to stall. After many more turns, I get a Pikachu with Raichu in my hand and a Chansey for security. But he gets a Dragonair as well, and eventually turns his Charmander into Charmeleon. But oh, I'm ready for him now. I now have 2 Gusties and choose to self-destruct my Magneton all over his fully powered Dragonair. Boom! 20 damage to everything else, including a second Dragonair that he has. He could get a Dragonite or Charizard any minute, so I gotta choose wisely. But Dragonair can discard energies off of me. I bring in Weezing to stall, but I gotta be more careful as he only needs 2 prizes. I lose Weezing and take a chance on using a Gusty to have Raichu knock out his other Dragonair. It's scary because Charmeleon is still a problem. I avoid thunder damage, he brings in a lowly Magikarp, and I also avoid thunder damage there. 1 prize left each. It's Raichu versus Charmeleon, and all he does is slash once, putting Raichu at 40 health. God, that was close. It doesn't matter now, but I avoid thunder damage yet again, taking down Rod on the first try. Okay, what is going on here? Is Courtney really that good, or is this just the absolute worst deck to use against her? Let's finish this once and for all. But my win on the first try luck here runs out. I get a pretty rough draw in between his Fire Giver Moltres being played 3 times because of 2 scoop ups. I just can't hold it off in time. Here we go again with this Moltres garbage. I swear to God, I hate this bird with my own fiery passion. Yeah, I'll give you fire one of these days. Attempt number 2. I start with Coughing and Geodude, which is just horrendous because I took out all of my fighting and grass energies for this. But looky here, he starts with Kangaskhan. I guess I have a chance after all. Fetch away, my friend. I computer search for base Zapdos, so I at least have something to try for here. He plays the legendary Zapdos, hurting his own Kangaskhan. You gotta stop using that Zapdos, my dudes. Or actually no, yeah, keep using it. I use an Oakman, completely not realizing that I discarded Arcanine in doing so, so just pretend like I'm not adding fire energies to Growlithe later on. But he uses 2 energy removals on my Zapdos and actually does power up Kangaskhan, taking 3 turns to knock out this lowly Coughing. His second Comet Punch ended up being 4 tails, so I sacrificed Coughing to the TCG gods and bring in Zapdos to knock out Kangaskhan. Except this very much backfires on me because I take thunder damage and then get knocked out by Moltres right away. Well, that was stupid. So now there's nothing I can do. I lose Chansey pretty quick and do my best to stall. I blow Moltres away to bring in a powerless Zapdos. Neither of us can do anything, and my deck has 3 or 4 less cards than his does, depending on whose turn it is. And he knows this because he begins ending his turn just like I do. So we exchange nothing turns, and just to rub it in, he uses a build to get his deck even closer to mine. Very funny. Well, this was a close run, but maybe I can get a better draw next time. Wait, did he just seriously use another Bill? No way! He really is that hell-bent on losing to me by running out of cards. It's been kind of a running joke on my channel that this is the easiest way to beat him, but I mean, look at this. I wasn't even trying to win this way. He was all set to win that way, and he still went out of his way to lose. I can't believe that just happened. So he does literally nothing the rest of the match, and that's it. I win the challenge. My God, this was incredibly frustrating. I think it would have been a bit easier if I didn't make that rule where I must use 1 of each card. It would have been simpler to use 4 Zapdos and 4 Electabuzz or something and bypass Ghastly and Slowbro or whatever, but that wasn't the challenge I made for myself. I seriously wanted to give up during that Courtney nonsense. I even posted about it on Twitter. Sorry, X, before deleting it. 21 attempts and I still stuck with it. Yeah, I'm a moron apparently. But you know what? I did it. I defeated every trainer in the game using only moves that have the chance at causing self-damage. Do I recommend this? Hell no. But if you do try it, maybe don't use my rule of forcing 1 of each. I stopped using grass and fighting energies altogether at the end there. The stars of this deck were clearly both of the Zapdos. They worked out in a variety of ways. Electabuzz was a good addition too, as well as Raichu when I was able to get it. Magnemite and Magneton came in handy at times, but they exist here just to blow up. Same with Weezing. I could be wrong, but I don't think I even used Golem once, and I added him onto the background too. Oops. Arcanine and Machoke were useful at times, but they both caused definite self-damage. Chansey, Rhyhorn, and Rhydon were mostly used for stalling, and Ghastly and Slowpoke / Slowbro literally existed here for stalling only. Jigglypuff was also pretty useless. And then that leaves my boy Nidoking, my favorite base set card. Yeah, this was not the deck for Nidoking. With only one Nidoran and one Nidorino here, I barely got to use Nidoking, and it was just for Thrash. So not quite the right setup for him. But to be honest, aside from Courtney almost making me snap my copy of Amityville 2 The Possession in half, I expected more struggles with the Clubmasters. I really only struggled against Nikki and Murray. Gene, Isaac, Rick, Steve, Jack, and Rod were all won in the first try, and I think that's pretty crazy. There's kind of a lot that needs to go right for this challenge to work, but in the end, that's really what it comes down to. This deck will eventually win over time, and it all depends on the deck draws. That's the beauty of the TCG over main game challenges, I guess. There's no grinding needed, just eventually win. But that can also be a con for these videos. Sometimes it simply comes down to trial and error with the deck draws if I'm going to win or not. Courtney was proof of this. But hey, these are still fun to make, and I hope this was at least entertaining. It was cool to try out some new Pokemon here too. But now I need to step away from this game for a little bit. Stay tuned for more card videos, including my analysis of the Jungle and Fossil sets, as well as a fun challenge idea I'm doing for Halloween. As always, an enormous self-destruct sized thank you to all of my patrons here. You are all the best. If you want to support the channel, get your name here, get some hella killer swag, and your own virtual card, head over to patreon.com/Paraspectre to see what I have to offer. Also, don't forget to check out intotheam.com/Paraspectre using the code Paraspectre to get 10% off your order, as that also helps support the channel and you get some sweet shirts too. If none of this appeals to you, then thank you kindly for watching my struggles. Paraspectre will return.